Happy birthday, Rotary Africa. Congratulations, Rotarians. For the first time ever in history, we have a virtual opportunity to connect in a single event spanning across the world and connecting Africa.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians and friends of Rotary. Welcome to the Rotary African Centennial celebrations. Welcome, Stella.
Thank you very much, Anne-Marie. We were pleased to receive recorded goodwill messages from directors, from trustees and friends from around the world.
Welcome you all to Zone 22 Africa International Virtual Conference.
My dear friends, this was one event I was looking forward to attending personally. 100 years of Rotary in Africa. My first visit to Africa was in 2004. We did meet Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. I was so delighted to learn of your own African Peace Concert. I also commend District Governor Anne-Marie in her district's project to train 100 peace mediators to promote peace building within Africa and to be accredited to mediators beyond borders.
I am delighted to share in celebrating the centenary of Rotary in Africa. For 100 years, Rotary has helped build peace and expand economic opportunities throughout the continent.
It is my singular honor and privilege to join President Knack in welcoming you to South Africa, albeit virtually.
It's really a great honor to be part of an important conversation about what we've all started calling the post-COVID world. The COVID pandemic alone would have left us with a public health crisis and a social crisis. But our response to COVID-19 has caused us an economic crisis, and I would like to argue probably worsened the social crisis.
This morning, I want to attach my observations to two of these adages. That is, when one door closes, another opens. And there is no cloud without a silver lining. Let me be clear that even though these observations are out there as pieces of wisdom handed down by the generations before us, all too often we are incapable of seeing the opening door or the silver lining.
100 years ago, the Rotary Club of Johannesburg was born, the first in Africa, and a milestone for the Rotary movement. And I know the last year has not been easy. None of us knew at its beginning that we would be facing the challenges of the coronavirus pandemic and widespread social and economic turmoil.
Welcome everybody to this session, which is one on community economic development. And this fits very well with the mission of Rotary, which for most of you who are Rotarians, we know is together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. How is your company contributing to growing the local economy? Give us a bit of granularity.
So fundamentally, what we do at Babango now is we better the life of our members. And the way that we do that is that we go out and we identify individuals we believe will be great leaders of grassroots level farmer cooperatives.
Where did you start from and how are you sort of impacting on the communities where you're operating in? David?
Yes. So thank you very much, Patrick, for that question. So Nyabon Enterprises Limited was started around 6 years ago today. And it was started because of a need that we saw amongst smallholder farmers in Africa who typically have small holdings.
The Rotary Foundation invests in people to create measurable and enduring economic improvement in their lives and their communities.
We are motivated by the dream of a world in which everybody has the opportunity to thrive. Central to this dream is the belief that everyone will have the ability to shape their own future. In all areas of development, education is central to achieving a world that is more equal and a world where people can make choices for themselves.
So for this session, I have the absolute pleasure of speaking to Fred Swaniker.
What I came to realize from all my experience of living and working in different parts of Africa was that our true wealth lay not in our gold and our diamonds, but in our people.
Fina, can I please ask you, what do you feel is the most exciting or perhaps the most effective learning environment would be in an ideal world?
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be part of this very, very important discussion. I think everything that I do when I work in the space where we are promoting literacy, and even when I was still in full-time theater, it's always bringing that element of fun and stimulating curiosity and saying everybody is different.
Peace is the intersection of whatever we do as Rotarians. Together, we are a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe.
Importantly, Rotary has been involved in peace building and in peacekeeping on the continent. And so we want to encourage you, and as a CORD, the organization that I head, the African Center for the Constructive Resolution of Disputes, we will work very, very closely with Rotary.
In your opinion, Anne, what does the landscape of the civil society sector in the continent look like? Could you please paint us a general outlook of the civil society on the African continent?
Perhaps I'd like to start off by debunking the concept of civil society. Often when we speak about civil society, it's conflated with non-governmental organizations. It includes self-help groups, professional associations, the media, faith-based organizations, cultural institutions, and service organizations just like Rotary.
Disease prevention and treatment is very critical for Africa in particular. Listening to WHO, UNICEF, and other organizations involved in management of health, the statistics, the data available is that all of the negative indices seems to reflect on the African continent.
With the signing of the Yaoundé Declaration in 1996, when heads of Commonwealth governments vowed to eradicate polio from the African region, followed by the launch of the Keep Polio Out of Africa campaign by then President Nelson Mandela, Rotary and WHO began seriously working together to protect and protect children from polio virus.
As Rotarians, we believe good health care is everyone's right. Yet, over 3.5 billion people, that is half the world's population, lacks access to basic health care.
Rotarians play a critical role, but the most critical role that they play in health is at community level, working with the people.
Ezra, what is your experience, especially in terms of your experience with polio eradication in Africa?
Yeah, thank you, Sue. The polio experience has given us, like Joy said, is to really, we have established clinics. We have established outstanding health workers who have been involved in the national immunization days and in giving vaccines to children.
And this is the appropriate time to now present to you, to let you listen, invite and listen to one of our biggest supporters as far as disease prevention and treatment on the African continent is concerned, and that is Mr. Bill Gates.
To Rotarians from around the world, thank you for inspiring us and helping make incredible progress against polio. So many of you have been part of fundraising and vaccination efforts and called on your leaders to stay vigilant against this virus. Because of that, we're now on the verge of eradicating a human disease for the second time in history.
This is a special moment right now, and we are going to be recognizing people that are doing great in the world. Polio, as we all know, is one great challenge all over the world, and there are some people that have been working tirelessly for many years to ensuring that polio is kicked out of the world. And this is the time for us to recognize them and present an award. This is a very special Paul Harris Fellows Award, which is given to them.
Fellow Rotarians, good evening. It's an honor and pleasure to be together here. We are celebrating a history. We are celebrating the most exciting time and event of the history of Africa. It is the conference celebrating the starting of the Rotary, this great organization in Africa.
We have spent much of the last year coping with what the world has placed before us. President Holger speaks often of the care that we have shown each other and how important it is to recognize our bonds of friendship and service. And I am overjoyed that President-elect Shaker continues to turn the spotlight onto Rotary service at a time when the world needs us most.
And my year as Vice President for Rotary International was one that I will never, ever forget. It showed me the power of Rotary. It showed me what Rotary can do. But it also brought to the forefront that we as women still had a journey to walk, to stand side by side with those Rotarians who have either mentored us, helped us, and brought us into the positions where we are today.
They say that Africa women hold the keys to Africa future. And I believe that very much because, as you know, there is a big population growth in Africa. It is expected that by the end of 2100, that half of the world would be in Africa. So actually being a woman and a strong woman, the woman really holds the keys to Africa.
Do you have or do you make time for self-care, and in what ways?
Thank you very much, Shirley. Yes, self-care is vital for success. As a medical practitioner and somebody in the health sector, I cannot overemphasize how important it is for each of us to take care of ourselves.
For today, I just want to appreciate very deeply the major anchor and major sponsor of this event, the Africa Brand Architects. We are so proud of you to have you in our continent. You definitely bring excellence to the world. And you are a great part of the continent's inspiring sustainability narrative. Thank you for being there for all these years, and thank you for being there for the 100 years celebration.
Welcome back, everybody, and a warm welcome to all Rotarians and friends of Rotary from around the world joining us virtually for the celebration of 100 years in Africa.
There are 821 major donors of all levels from Africa. So you can see that individual support for the Rotary Foundation in Africa is strong, and it's growing.
Congratulatory message to Rotary International Africa on Centennial celebration of Rotary International Zone 22 of His Excellency Dr. Kenneth David Holder, the first African President of the Republic of Zambia.
I'm also proud to congratulate the Rotary fraternity for their display of fortitude and grit as they carried out their noble mission, despite the daunting challenges they have faced in the last 100 years.
One of the major objectives of the African Union this year is to silence the guns. Because without peace and stability, we cannot really embark successfully to the development process.
It is my honor today to anchor session 7 of the Rotary Foundation focus area of water, sanitation and hygiene.
Allow me to convey greetings from the President of the African Development Bank Group, Dr. Akiwumi Adesina, and staff of the bank, as you mark a century of service and for driving impactful socioeconomic transformation throughout the African continent. 3 out of 5 sub-Saharan Africans live in rural areas, and 8 of every 10 of those people with no access to wash live in rural areas. So the bank salutes efforts by Rotary International to be part of the solution.
And today we're going to discuss on water and sanitation. And I have 2 very vast gentlemen who have played great roles in Africa, not just in terms of water and sanitation, but in terms of Rotary and the work we have to do for service.
Human population growth has outstripped the supply of fresh, clean water. Now we get into a completely different debate now, because we haven't actually run out of water. We've only run out of the 2% of the total volume of water we have on the planet that is fresh and safe to drink.
I have to agree with Tony that, water is scarce. But then the other thing about it is that we also have a lot of our freshwater sources are getting polluted. And we're seeing such a huge hit on our rivers, especially those rivers that are passing through the farming communities, that are passing through industrial areas.
Of the 10 countries, I must say, worldwide with the highest neonatal deaths, of the 10 countries worldwide, 4 of these countries are in our Rotary Zone 22.
My name is Tammy Nganibeng, and I'll be the moderator for this section on maternal and child healthcare. When it comes to maternal healthcare, investing in the lifeline of healthy societies and economies is a must. How do you think innovation can contribute towards the betterment of healthcare systems?
Yes, you are spot on around some of the challenges that continue to bewilder the continent. But we know that digitization and innovation of some sort can actually help spur us into the next phase of our growth.
Past President Hannah of the Rotary Club of Cairo Royal, District 2451. Apart from being a proud Rotarian, she is a distinguished and well-associated doctor in radiology with a bias for early breast cancer detection. The RI District 9400, through its district governor and membership, herewith designate a Paul Harris Award to you.
I'm here in a clinic in Accra, in Ghana, amongst the genius doctors, nurses, and health workers who are so transforming the lives of the people in this region with very simple medications and applications, from vaccines to bed nets.
It has been a difficult year in many, many ways of looking at it. No matter where you are standing, it's been so difficult, it's been so dark in many people's lives. But difficult years like these force us to remember, to dig deep and find what is strong inside us.
We
today I'm pleased to speak to you on the topic of world understanding and peace building, which is important not just in Africa, but everywhere in the world. And it is an essential part of Rotary's mission. Rotary creates an environment for peace to happen. And we believe that if concerned citizens mobilize locally to create peace, change can happen globally.
Growth is expected to be around 6% in 2021, reflecting a surprisingly rapid recovery, particularly in the advanced economies of the world, but also very encouraging growth performance by China. The advanced economies are expected in 2021 to grow by some 5.1%, principally driven by some of the deliberate government interventions which have been made, which some called stimulus, but also the fact that most of the advanced economies are rolling out the vaccines much quicker maybe than other countries.
Today, we are going to hear presentations about some environmental issues in Africa, from e-waste and the circular economy to sustainable and environmentally friendly textile development. It's an honor for me to welcome as our first speaker His Excellency Ambassador Manuel Carvalho, Embassy of Portugal in South Africa, Council of the European Union.
We want to reinforce the presence of the EU in the world, promoting multilateralism and strengthening our global partnerships with Africa, Asia, and the transatlantic space. Africa is once again, a cross-cutting priority, as it was with all our previous presidencies. We understand that with the current treaty provisions, the execution of external relations are purview of the various institutions, the European Council, Commission, External Action Service, but the contents still must come from the various council formations.
My name is Bonnie Mbithi. I'm the CEO for the We Center in Kenya. We Center, we are an e-waste management company. So our work basically is to make sure that all the e-waste that is generated in Kenya is safely disposed.
Hi, Africa. My name is Jumoke Bamiboye, District Governor, Rotary District 9125 for 2020-2021. I will be the facilitator for this panel. Elian, please could you introduce yourself and the work that you do as well?
Okay, so I'm very fine. Thank you for asking. So my name is Elian Wanjiku Klaisengavai. I am 10 years old, turning 11. I'm from the Pony House Factory. And I am East Africa's youngest climate change ambassador and Kenya's youngest Mashujaa.
It's quite clear that large industries and governments have a major role to play. But where does personal agencies come in?
Yes, individuals have got a very important role to play in climate action. And each individual's actions, speaks quite loudly. And the more of us that stand together and refuse to use plastic bags, that use clean energy and so forth.
Welcome to our panel, Sustainable and Environmentally Friendly Textile Development, as part of the Rotary Africa Centennial Conference.
It's encouraging to hear all these idealistic views of what the industry is. But when you really sit down with African designers, you'll realize that it's not as rosy as it looks. We have a lot of retailers who are coming up right now who want to sell our products. However, the terms that they're offering us are terms that they would never offer any other designer.
But I also know that if I'm sourcing other materials, for example, a recycled material, that's inherently less expensive because the virgin material is always more expensive than the recycled material. So it's also dependent on what you're sourcing.
Allow me to extend a word of thanks and a reward that has been given to Elian Wanjiku. Thank you so much, Elian Wanjiku, being the Kenyan environmental activist and being a successful person in that area. If you'll allow me to tell you a little bit about Elian. At 9 years old, Elian Wanjuku has been the driving force behind the planting of 250,000 trees in Kenya.
As you know, Africa has got the youngest youth population in the world. So we are so excited to be sponsoring this pillar. And we really look forward to engaging with all of you during this amazing event. We are implementing a program called Edulution, where we are helping the youth, especially those in schools that don't have access to technology. And we sponsored, or we're helping to facilitate them to have access to iPads that they use to learn. And that helps them to build their literacy levels at a very young age. And on top of that, we've got youth that also come and help them and mentor them. In that way, we're also creating jobs. As you know, South Africa has got a serious job crisis.
Today, I want to talk to you about how we can work together to make the next 100 years successful for all the people surround the continent of Africa. Most of the time, when I show this image, people think that it's me, but that's not me. This is a young man south of Malawi. I went to speak at his school. I didn't show any pictures or diagrams, but a year later, when I went back, he was able to build his own windmill.
The Africa of the past has been marred and shrouded in pessimism. But young people of the continent today embody a sense of hope and present a better future for us all.
At the core, we are all from one source, from one creator. We need to connect and love each other and know each other, in that not to be separated by color, tribe, religion, or whatever it is. And notice that if we are to create an amazing Africa for the next 100 years, we have to put the notion of loving one another at the core and center of who we are.
And the second part of my artwork is the sculptures that I create. It's using banknotes from each country. The piece that I have here today is using Zambian banknotes. This is a rhino using the Zambian banknotes, kind of bringing forward the meaning between the poaching that's going on in each country, showing the devastation that it has on the animals.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session, Africa's Hopeful Future.
Those that are unjust do not happen. Those that are continue to happen. So we need to get to a position where we are able to get each and every human being to self-actualize, and issues like race and sexuality and gender, etc., should never form part of that picture.
One of the most important things is that we should understand where we are coming as Africans, the history of governance and leadership on the continent, and then also analyze where we are. And then as young people, we can understand on where we are going and what we have to do.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the final panel discussion of session 11, New Generations. Today, we're going to look at a particular subject that is very dear to us, which is Africa, the future of Rotary, Rotaract, and inclusion. For me, it's quite inspiring. We have people from all across Africa.
So some of the challenges to getting more Rotaractors on board at the moment, to be honest, I think that once people know about Rotaract, they want to be a part of the family. So the main challenge perhaps is getting the word out there about what Rotaract is.
Every Rotaractor, every Rotarian has a part to play in the public image of the organization.
My vision is that for every population group of 200,000, you have at least one Rotary Club serving that population group. And that should mean that if you are 1 billion people, you should see how many Rotary clubs you should be having across the continent.
With the integration, in order to develop the staff and the members in Africa and throughout the world, it is necessary to accept soon within the clubs the integration of Rotaractors.
A new situation whereby Rotaractors are now considered to be part of Rotary. they will become the backbone for the growth of Rotary in Africa.
Now we look at the next 100 years. How do we get there? What do we do differently? I believe we're at a transition point in our organization. We have to start thinking differently. What should we do differently in order to be more relevant to today's world?
Rotary first got to Africa through Johannesburg. So it's a pleasure to know that you'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary of that historic moment for Africans.
May God bless you with enough foolishness to believe that you really can make a difference in this world, so that you are able, with God's grace, to do what others claim cannot be done.